Okay, let's look at the new Mythos range of coffee grinders from Victoria Arduino. We borrowed this model, MYG75 with 75mm burst and gravimetric dosing for our filming and field tests. Let's see how they improve the design, user experience and control over the grinder. Disclaimer: Victoria Arduino is a long-term sponsor of European Coffee Trip and we work with them to film and release this video. We decided to make it more fun and not to test and film in the studio, but to bring it to the cafe. We are taking over a cool espresso bar in Brno called HODNÉ NÉKDE with our professional barista friend Alan Jarrar. We'll be serving free espresso and cappuccino for a few hours, testing the grinder so we can give you a real live feedback. Now, before we go there, we want to give you a quick overview of the new Mythos grinders and what are some key changes from the previous generation. Mythos family consists of 5 grinders right now. Unlike the first generation, you can pick from 2 burr sizes, 75mm and 85mm. And for both burr options, you can choose regular or gravimetric dosing. The 5th model was the released last. It's called Mythos One. It features 75mm burrs and simpler TFT display. When you look at new Mythos grinders, there are several changes you notice immediately. There is a new sleek design with touchscreen panel, 2 cooling fans that are placed in the back of the grinder, and also easier access to clean the burrs with only 2 screw locks. Many more differences are hidden behind the hood and we'll test them with Alan, so let's go! We brought the new Mythos grinder to the cafe HODNÉ NÉKDE. It's pretty heavy, so Alan helped us to get it inside and unpack it. We installed it on the bar right next to the Mythos One.
So we turned on the Mythos and the heating element is plugged and we put the coffee in the hopper. So now we're ready to grind. As easy as that.
Before the first customers came in, we followed Alan dialing in the coffee.
The nice thing is that you have a calibration point at 0 because of the bottom ring on the dial-in mechanism. So the espresso is actually pretty fruity, floral, lovely, but too astringent in the finish. That's because it went for 45 seconds, too long. Since we purged 2 doses of coffee when dialing in already, I'm a fan of not wasting too much, so I'm gonna drop the dose from 18 to 17 grams and we're gonna get there.
Alright, the coffee tasted great and we were ready to welcome first people. We were open for 3 hours, serving free espresso, cappuccino or flat white. It was an amazing time with our friends and supporters. The time flies and a lot of coffee had been ground, brewed and served, and we were by the end of the day. So what Alan thinks about the new Mythos grinder after this test?
Hey guys, so let's wrap it up. We had this new Mythos during a rush in the coffee shop, 3 hours, and overall I'm really impressed with the new Mythos. So I was working with the Mythos One for 5 years on a daily basis. Now let's hit the major differences. First thing first, design. I noticed this hopper has a steeper angle. So the beans really fall nicely on the burrs. You don't have to move them when you're running low on the beans by hand, which is really cool. The touch screen, you can use the buttons or the touch screen, works really well. And you can set the gravimetrics there, the grams you need, or the timer if you're not using the gravimetrics. You can also set the temperature on the burrs. On the Mythos One, I was unplugging the heating element as it was getting overheated and the coffee was bitter after a few hours during a rush. Here, it's not an issue. You can set the 20 or 30 degrees Celsius and it just maintains the temperature, which is really cool. Access to the chamber when you're cleaning the burrs, it's much easier, so that speeds up your cleaning routine. 2 screws, very easy to unscrew. You see the burrs, clean them with the brush and with the vacuum cleaner, and you're good to go. The other thing, cleaning the clump crusher was kind of painful on Mythos One. Here it's super easy. Larger screws, round-headed, unscrew them, unplug this new design, The clump crusher is beneath this new element, easy to remove, easy to clean under running water, easy to put back. The gravimetrics. I didn't have to use a scale, external scale for 3 hours. Out of 20 doses, 18 were super precise within the 0.2 to 0.3 gram range. Again, very effective. The grind setting is adjustable in the same way as on the Mythos One. You can move the bottom ring as well, so you can set a 0.0 when you start the shift, which is really cool. One super cool feature on the display, you can see how far are the bursts from each other. So you can see the microns here, the distance between the bursts, which is actually super helpful when you're adjusting the grind setting. So you adjust by, let's say, 5 dashes here, but you can see it moved from 200 microns to 130 microns, and that kind of gives you an idea where you are, as let's say the ideal espresso range might be between 130 to 190 microns, depending on the coffee and its density. Really cool feature, so that might lead to lower waste. One thing I didn't like is this bean stopper. This element is made of aluminium, and I touched it just once and kind of bended. So the build quality isn't the best here, so be careful. The flavor-wise, it was super great. This grinder, I seasoned it with 2 kilos of coffee, and it was enough. We were using a washed Ethiopia Shella from Jokside Coffee, and the flavor-wise it was great, no major flaws. Overall, really cool grinder, really fun to use. I was pretty quick and had more time for customer service, and to be honest, I look forward to work with it again in a cafe.
Okay, thanks for watching. Let us know if you have any questions about these grinders, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.